So one of the things that has infuriated me watching what Trump is doing in Venezuela is that the media has been so pathetic. I mean, everybody's been pathetic. The Republicans are just cheering it on as it happens. The Democrats are not really opposing it in any serious way. But the media, whose job it is to like tell you the truth and give you facts and information, they're just sort of parroting whatever the steel man case is for war with Venezuela and regime change in Venezuela. Like, they take at face value that, oh yeah, Maduro is the head of this like narco-terrorist cartel that we just made up. But yeah, he's like destroying America with fentanyl, even though zero fentanyl comes from Venezuela. Like, they're putting out the steel man case in a very similar way to when Bush and Cheney would say, oh, Saddam has weapons of mass destruction and he might use it on us. They would dutifully report in the New York Times, oh, Saddam has weapons of mass destruction and he might use it on us. We all look back now and we're horrified at how captured the media was by elite insider neocons. Well, the same thing's happening now, and they're captured by fucking Trump idiots, and everybody's acting like it's normal. So, yes, the same people that illegally bombed Iran and Somalia and Yemen are now plotting a regime change in Venezuela, and they murdered over 80 fishermen, bombed over 20 boats in terror attacks, and everybody's acting like it's normal. Well, guess what? Every now and then, you know who you get the truth from every now and then? Republican politicians. Because they're so high on their own supply that they feel like, oh, we could just say it and it's okay. We could just say it and people will agree. We can just say it and it'll be looked at as, a positive thing. Well, no, you're dating yourselves in your own, neocon, warmonger, imperialist bubble. And when you accidentally tell the truth, we all take fucking notice among us regular folk. So take a look at this. You had Republican Representative Salazar was on Fox Business, and listen to what you want to talk about saying the quiet part loud. This might be the clearest example of that I've ever seen. Watch this.
I mean, I would love to see a change in government. My wife's from Nicaragua. We know how terribly the dictators there rely on Venezuelan oil. But at the same time, a lot of Americans don't want actual U.S. participation in regime change in Venezuela. They would much prefer the Venezuelans to do it on their own. Do you think the pressure that Maduro has received will force him to leave on his own?
Oh, I think Maduro is not Fidel Castro. Maduro is not a brave boy. So now that he has understood that he's on that very nefarious list of the terrorist organization, that the airspace above Venezuela has been closed off and the commercial airlines from the United States are not flying, he's understanding that we're about to go in. He understands that he has been our enemy for the last 25 years. Mm-hmm. Venezuela, for those Americans who do not understand why we need to go in, for three reasons. You're in Fox Business. Venezuela, for the American oil companies, will be a field day because it will be more than $1 trillion in economic activity. American companies can go in and fix all the oil pipe, the whole oil rigs, and everything that has to do with the Venezuelan petroleum companies, or everything that has to do with oil and the derivatives.
Bro, I've been following politics my whole life. I've been covering politics full time since 2012. You're not supposed to admit that part. Remember back during the George W. Bush days, we're like, bro, the war in Iraq is at least in part for oil. They're doing it for oil. They're trying to take the oil. And you'd say that, oh, fucking conspiracy theory, bro. What are you talking about? They would never do a war for natural resources like that. That's like the whole point of most of the wars is for natural resources. They would never do that. Now everybody knows, of course that's true. They're saying, before even trying the regime change, they're going, yeah, we're going to steal the oil. This is all about the oil. But then you just undermine the whole, like, oh, the drugs and the fucking fentanyl. And again, by the way, don't take my word for it. You go look it up. Less than 10% of the drugs that come into America come from Venezuela. Zero fentanyl comes from Venezuela. It's totally made up. This Cartel de los Soles or whatever they call it. That's totally fucking made up. They're pretending like Maduro is not the president of Venezuela and like he leads a narco-terrorist cartel or something. It's their cover story. But here she comes out. The first thing she says totally undermines that story. Oh, the American oil companies are going to love this. We're going to go in there. We're going to loot. We're going to pillage. We're going to steal. We're going to do regime change. We're going to have a puppet in there that does the bidding of the U.S. corporations like the oil companies. It's going to be wonderful. Do you hear yourself? Do you hear yourself? Oh, my God, bro. But I'm not dunsies yet because later on in this same interview, it somehow gets weirder, bro. She admitted the whole thing And then she also goes on to say this stuff.
So we know, we have information that maybe the top echelon of the military forces in Venezuela may be with Maduro, and they're going to flee with him. But the middle and lower ranks are with the opposition. We're talking about that this is going to be very similar to
I'm having flashbacks to the war in Iraq and Ahmed Shalabi, the person that they swore would be the next president of Iraq when Saddam Hussein fell, and he has popular backing. And the guy was a total fucking con artist. And then, when Saddam Hussein fell, he was fucking ousted out of the country too. Like, nobody wanted that guy. I'm having flashbacks to that.
I was there. I was a news reporter. And I remember when the Marines were walking in and the Panamanian girls were asking them to marry them.
Yeah.
I think it's very similar.
Yeah, no, I remember well. I was there in just after it.
Look at this rank propaganda. They're going to greet us as liberators. They're going to hug us. They're going to welcome us. They're going to want to suck us off. They're going to want us, when we go and bomb them and shoot their family members in the face, they're going to go, oh, I'd like to marry you. Do you want a hand job? What is wrong with you people? Oh, my God. The depravity.
It kind of bled into 1990. It started in late December of 1989, bled into 1990. And I went in January, and it was remarkable how receptive the Panamanians were to the change. And it's been a relatively peaceful country since. But the transition. Correct. I mean, Maria is a wonderful woman, the opposition leader. She's fantastic. But how will that transition take place? Will there be a snap election after he flees or what?
By the way, the person that he just said is great. This is the person who won the Nobel Peace Prize. Meanwhile, she had begged Benjamin Netanyahu to attack Venezuela and topple Maduro. She's another one who says the quiet part loud and goes, the oil, man. Yeah, come take the oil, bro. It's going to be great. She talks about being the leader of the country. You didn't win a fucking election. You can't do the whole, we're going to bring freedom and democracy, but also I'm going to be president after Maduro's ousted. Well, that's not freedom. That's not democracy. That's you putting yourself in as a dictator. What a sick joke. Fucking shame on the Nobel Committee for picking that psychopathic neocon scumbag. And by the way, what else did she do? As soon as she got the Nobel Peace Prize, she went, I don't deserve this. I'm dedicating this award to Donald Trump. Could you imagine? Giving that award to somebody who then donates it to Donald Trump? That alone proves this person never should have gotten the award. They never should have been in the fucking conversation about getting the award.
Well, she has and I've spoken to her extensively, they have a 100-day plan that they have shared with the White House. They are prepared. She knows what she's doing. I mean, they have been at this for 25 years. Like I said, 80, 90% of the Venezuelan people, plus the 8 million Venezuelans who have fled, they want to come back. This is going to be a very major success and a success story, not only for them, but for us. And I salute President Trump for having the fortitude, the courage, the political vision to be doing this. Because Maduro is the head of a transnational criminal organization. Yeah. Maduro is not the legitimate president of the country. So we're not invading a sovereign country that has a free and fair elected democratic president. No, this guy's a thug, and he's good friends with Hezbollah. They are giving uranium to Hamas and to...
What? He's good friends with Hezbollah, the Lebanese militia? What? Also, by the way, Hezbollah, obviously within recent years, they've been totally decapitated by Israel, right? Like, the leaders got killed. Hassan Nasrallah got killed. He's giving uranium to Hamas? Uranium to Hamas. This is, man, it has to be said, they just make shit up. A Republican will say anything they want about anything in order to try to get one over on you, in order to lie, in order to shift the narrative in the direction they want. They just lie. They just shamelessly lie. I wouldn't be able to sleep at night if I said things this absurd. But she goes out there proudly. Maduro's working with Hezbollah. Yeah. And he's giving uranium to Hamas. And he was giving spying technology to North Korea. Sure, let's go with that. Like, what is this? Oh, my God.
That has a free and fair elected democratic president. No, this guy is a thug, and he's good friends with Hezbollah. They are giving uranium to Hamas and to Iran and to North Korea and to Cuba and to Nicaragua. Come on, it's time for the United States to do what we need to do. And thank God that Trump is doing it. And I'm telling you that these people, the Venezuelans, have the largest reserves of oil in the world, more than Saudi Arabia. We're talking about this is going to be a windfall for us when it comes to fossil fuel.
That's insane. She's just saying it. We're going to steal the oil. We're going to take the oil. It's going to be wonderful. No concern whatsoever about, like, how do we have the right to do that? They openly and proudly want to live in a world with no international law. Proudly and openly. But they only like it because at this moment, you're in the country that's the world's superpower right now. But like, we don't have the right to topple a government and steal their shit in the same way that when China inevitably surpasses us, which they probably already have, if we're being honest, they wouldn't have the right to topple our government and steal our natural resources. This used to be called common sense. This used to be called obvious reciprocity, the golden rule. But they really want to live in a world where might makes right. It's the law of the jungle. That's what they want. Bragging about stealing the oil of a sovereign country. Okay, but by the way, now they're saying the quiet part loud. Don't forget, in 2023, Donald Trump did the exact same fucking thing. So people don't remember this, but in Trump's first term, he also tried to do a CIA coup of Maduro. Some of you might remember that Trump would, go all over the place with this guy, Juan Guaido. Juan Guaido, they pretended was the president of Venezuela, even though he wasn't, but they would invite him to UN events and invite him to these international committee meetings and stuff and pretend like that's what he is. It was very bizarre. It was very weird. It's like they didn't go in order. Like usually if you're going to do your regime change, you do it and then that guy gets to play president. But they started doing that before Maduro was even overthrown. It was very bizarre. And of course their efforts failed in the first term. Now Trump publicly in 2023 sort of let the cat out of the bag as to what that was all about in the first term. Watch.
How about we're buying oil from Venezuela? When I left, Venezuela was ready to collapse. We would have taken it over. We would have gotten all that oil. It would have been right next door.
So there was a brief moment where Biden was making a deal with Venezuela to buy some of their oil from them. How you would actually act if you were a reasonable country. Like, let's make a deal, a business deal, and you get paid and we get the oil, right? So that was going on. That was in the news at the time. And Trump's like, we almost overthrew him. I would have taken that oil. I would have taken it. When you just scream through a megaphone that you're a war criminal, you make the future Nuremberg case a lot easier. So in a sense, I appreciate it. So thank you very much, Don, for letting that out. Thank you to Representative Salazar for letting that out. But man, they are so high on their own supply, they can't see straight, and they keep accidentally telling the truth. And it makes my life a lot easier, because again, during the Bush years, you would say, oh, this is about oil, and people would sort of laugh at you and be like, no, it's about defending the country and getting Al-Qaeda back and stuff like that. And you'd have to say, no, it's not. Well, now, it doesn't require much argument on my part, because they're not even bothering to try to make a good case, right? Bush and Cheney did 2 years of a media blitz convincing everybody that Saddam Hussein was about to nuke Cleveland or some shit, and people were ready. They were like, okay, sure, yeah, war in Iraq, let's do it. Why not? We were attacked on 9/11. We went after the Taliban in Afghanistan. Why not add Al-Qaeda in Iraq, right? They were lied to the whole step of the way, but the propaganda was thick. Now, the propaganda is flimsy. The propaganda is Dickie McGee's acts. They undermine themselves in the same segment. Oh, yes, he's a drug cartel kingpin, narco-terrorist, but also we're just going to steal his oil. So maybe that's the real reason, but yeah, drugs or something? I mean, now you have even Republican senators like Rand Paul are on TV going, oh yeah, Trump's lying when he says that they're bringing drugs into the country. He's just lying. The boats that they're blowing up would have to be refueled 20 times for them to even reach the United States, and they want you to believe that this is what's happening. There's drugs being sent to the United States by Maduro to kill Americans. Fucking absurd. Just absurd. But here we are. It is a uniquely immoral age that we currently live in. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.